Hi, everybody. It's Catherine Sykes from the Life Center in Atlanta, Georgia. And I just wanted to take a few minutes today to just encourage you. I met with a couple recently, and I could just sense that they were discouraged about the delay in the receiving of the promises and even questioning whether God heard their prayers. And the Lord reminded me of a testimony that happened years ago that actually literally changed the way that I looked at and thought about God's oversight and understanding and looking over us and hearing our prayers. And I wanted to share that with you today because I really feel that we need to remember how much the Lord cares about each of us. But many years ago, my very first missions trip was to a communist country that was locked down and had no diplomatic relationship with the United States. And the church in that country was very persecuted, and we would call them, at that time anyway, the suffering church. Now we would say the victorious church, but they were suffering under persecution. And so there was a team of three of us, and we were put together by an organization to actually smuggle Bibles and three pastors' libraries into that nation and to deliver them to specific places so that the pastors would be encouraged and that they would have Bibles and resources for their the people that they met with, the congregations. And so I could go into all of the testimonies that happened on that trip that were just phenomenal. You could feel and see the Holy Spirit's hand go before us on every turn, through customs, through immigration, how we smuggled those Bibles into that nation. It's just amazing. But I want to focus in on one specific part of the testimony that came out of that trip. When we went to go on this trip, we could not fly out of the United States. We had to take a flight to another country, and then from that country, fly into the country that we were going to visit. The reason was there's no embassy, no consulate, no diplomatic relations between the United States and that nation, and therefore you couldn't even fly out of the United States to that place. So we knew that we needed Holy Spirit's protection because if anything happened, the U.S. was not there to back us up. But we flew to that nation. Then we got our flight to the country we were going to, and God supernaturally got us through it. We accomplished our mission. We got to each of the pastors we were to deliver to, and we were able to do that. But what happened after that was we felt, after we had completed and delivered everything that we had in our possession, we felt like there was still something else that the Holy Spirit wanted to do. And we weren't sure what that was, but we felt like there was some connection or assignment that He had for us yet to complete. So we prayed, and we decided, the three of us, to grab a cab and then ask that cab driver if he knew of a church he could take us to. And so we did. We got into the cab, and of course, when the cab driver learned that we were Americans, he was just over the top. He was very excited because they loved, and still do love, America. And so we asked him if he knew of a church, and he went, I know where to take you. And so he began driving out of town, and honestly, he drove about 25 minutes out of the city, and we were in the rural area in this country. We weren't sure where he was taking us, but we did feel like the Holy Spirit was in the middle of all of it. So he drives down this road and then turns onto this little dirt road. It seems to go forever. At the end of the road, there was this very small house, almost shackish in nature. And as we pulled up to the doorway, this man opened the door with his and came walking out with his arms wide open. And he said, "Welcome. God told me you were coming." And it turns out that this man was and hopefully still is an apostle to the underground church in that country. And he oversaw 300 underground churches. And so he was very excited that we had come to see him. He knew that God had sent us. And so he was very forthright about the persecution, what was going on in the nation, all of that. And, I'm not sure if you've ever had the opportunity to go to another country where there's poverty or people are impoverished, but your heart just goes out to them and you just want to give whatever you can give, whether it's ministry or your jewelry or clothes that you have, whatever it is. And so we had already given away everything that we knew we had to give. And so I was just thinking, Lord, I just want to bless him somehow. So I was just searching in my purse, thinking, is there anything that I have that might be a blessing to him? And I tell you, I don't even know how it got in my purse, but I found a little baggie, and this little baggie had 4 AA batteries in it. And I didn't even know where it came from, but I picked it up, and I didn't speak the language, but one of the persons on our team did. So I went to her and I said, "I've just found this in my purse. Do you think that this would be a blessing to him?" And she said, "Well," I said, "could he even use it?" And she said, "Well, I don't know. Why don't we take it to him and see?" So we went up to him and I held up the baggie with 4 AA batteries and I held it out to him, and he looked at it and he just began to weep. And then he just threw his hands up in the air and began walking around praising God and just thanking God. And he was so excited, so happy, tears streaming down his face. It still touches me when I think about this. The backstory is that this man had a small congregation that he personally met with every week. And they had a little tape player. And this little cassette tape player ran on AA batteries. And those batteries had died and he had nothing to play the tapes. So he had prayed and he had asked God, "God, could you please send me 2 AA batteries so that we can praise you, so that we can worship you? Could you please send those to us?" And here we came, and he was so excited because he said, "I asked God for 2, and here you bring 4 and double what I even asked for." And then we were all so touched by that. And then when he found out we were from Atlanta, he had been trying to get in touch with an international missionary that was based here in Atlanta that we happen to know the church. And in that country, if you are a missionary or a minister, you cannot go into that nation, or you couldn't at that time, unless you had a letter of invitation. And everything was so restricted that no letters of invitation ever got out. And the only reason they had that policy was because they wanted to take off international pressure that they were getting from other nations because of their religious persecution. So they would come back and say, "No, we allow missionaries in, but they need to be invited." And so he had sent letter after letter after letter, and they never got out of the country. So he said he got this little piece of paper that he had written this invitation on, and he held it out to us. He said, "Would you please take this back to Atlanta and deliver this to so-and-so?" And of course, we said, "Of course we will." So I took the paper. We got it out of the country. I contacted that international missionary, and he said, "Of course I will go. Of course I will go to strengthen the church and speak to those pastors." And he did. the whole point of my sharing this testimony is I want you to look at what God did. God took 3 people. I'd never been on a missions trip. And he took me and these other people, sent us to another nation where we had to catch a flight to go to this nation, bringing in all of this contraband, according to that nation, smuggling it across the border, arranging for a cab driver out of the clear blue sky to be in that specific place at that specific time so that he could pick us up and take us to this man in order to deliver 4 AA batteries. And it just showed me so the heart of the Father, that as we serve him, as we love him, he loves us so much more than we can ever know. Do not ever think that your prayers are not heard. Do not ever think that God is not concerned about even the very small things in your life that you wonder, does he even hear or care? If God would do that to deliver 4 AA batteries, he will move nations. He will move the hearts of kings. He will do whatever it takes to get you what you need and to fulfill his promises to you. Please don't ever forget that. He will always deliver. He loves you. He hears you, and he will do whatever it takes to make sure that you have what you need to accomplish your purpose. And sometimes just because he wants to encourage you. So I hope that encourages you today, and that it helps each of us remember how good our God is, because he's awesome. I love you. We love you at the Life Center, and we hope to see you real soon. You have a wonderful, blessed day. God bless you.